Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare. Today in the session of class 7th history, we will read and learn about lesson number 7, tribes, nomads and settled communities. Okay? Okay children, now in this chapter we will read and learn about the introduction to the chapter. Then we will read beyond the big cities. That means we will read about tribal societies because the chapter is about tribes, nomads. So we will read about tribal societies, then we will read who were tribal people and how these nomads and mobile people lived. Then we will see the changing society. Nai caste आएंगी, nai hierarchies will be there in the society. We will read about that. Then we will have a closer look on some tribes, the Gonds and the Ahoms. Then we will reach up to the conclusion of the chapter and the story of elsewhere as we do in every chapter. Some associated keywords and then we will recall the chapter with the help of some exercises. So let's get into the chapter now. So talking about the introduction of this chapter, tribe, nomads and settled communities, you saw in chapter 2, 3 and 4 how kingdoms rose and then fell because some other powerful king came, had battle with one another, conquered one area, got annexation in the other area and then established their own dynasty in some of the other areas and region, expanding their own empire. Even as this was happening, that means one kingdom was rising, the other was the other fell down. Even as this was happening, new arts, craft and production activities flourished in towns and villages. Over the centuries, important political, social and economic developments had taken place. But social change was not the same everywhere because different kinds of society evolved differently and at a different period of time, right? Society overall पूरे country में एक साथ तो नहीं बदलती ना, and in some region society will evolve. In some region they will evolve at a different period of time. In some region they will evolve at a different period of time, right? It is important to understand how and why this happened. In large parts of the subcontinent, society was already divided according to the rules of Varna. Varna kya hote hain? The categories in the Hinduism. That means Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. We read in the ancient history, in the Vedic period also, the later Vedic period also, when these Varna were emerged and people were divided, the society was divided in these Varna and Jatis. These rules, as prescribed by Brahmins, were accepted by the rulers of large kingdoms. Brahmins ने जैसा वर्ण बताया, rulers of large kingdom accepted it. The difference between the high and low and between the rich and poor increase because when you will divide people on the basis of their caste, their surname and jati, definitely there will be a clash between the rich and the poor. There will be a segment which will start becoming rich and prosperous, and there will be a segment which will pay all the fines, all the taxes, and they will start getting poor. And because of this discrimination of varna and caste, the gap between the high and the low, the rich and the poor, it started increasing over time. Under the Delhi Sultanates, the Delhi Sultans and the Mughals, this hierarchy between social classes grew further and further. Now reading about beyond big cities, that means the tribal societies. There were big cities. They were the main centers, the administrative centers in a dynasty or an empire. But there were other establishments and settlements as well, right? A different kind of society, majorly known as tribal societies. So we'll read about them. So apart from the Varna-based societies, there were, however, other kinds of societies as well. Many societies in the subcontinent did not follow the social rules and rituals prescribed by Brahmins. बहुत सारी societies थी जिन्होंने वर्ण culture नहीं माना. They did not believe in discriminating people on the basis of their caste creed. Nor were they divided into numerous unequal classes. Such societies are often called tribes. Members of each tribe were united by kinship bond. उनका kinship bond, the family related bond था. Father, mother, son, daughter, anything. Kinship bonds were there. One leader was there, and then the leader used to govern. They used to work in community basis. So these kind of societies were also there apart from the Varna-based societies where Brahmins were at the privileged end. Many tribes obtained their livelihood from agriculture. These people, majorly known as tribes, who did not believe in the social rules of Brahmins, they did not had any unequal classes in their society. They had their bond based on kinship. They had their livelihood majorly from the agriculture. All others were hunter gatherers or herders as well. Most often, they combined these activities to make full use of natural resources of the area in which they lived. तो क्या करते थे? कुछ लोग एग्रीकल्चर का काम करते थे, कुछ लोग वहीं पे हंटिंग और गैदरिंग करते थे और कुछ लोग वहीं का सामान हर्ड करके चले जाते थे. So they used to combine all these activities in the same place so that they can take the best of the advantage and the efficient utilization of the natural resources of that area. Some tribes were nomadic and moved from one place to another. A tribal group controlled land and pastures jointly and divided these among households according to its own rules. उन्होंने अपने रूल बना रखे थे and they divided the land and pastures according to their will. That means they had the equal distribution of resources. Equal distribution of resources कर रखा था उन्होंने so that no one is too rich, no one is too poor. Many large tribes thrived in different parts of the subcontinent. They usually lived in forest, hill, deserts, and places difficult to reach. That is why they were out of normal society, or you can say the traditional society, not normal but traditional society. They were out of the traditional society and the realm of it because they used to live in such places which were difficult to reach. Sometimes they clashed with the more powerful caste based societies. In various ways, the tribes retained their freedom and preserved their separate culture. उन्होंने बहुत कोशिश करी that they do not get mixed up with the Varna based society and their freedom must also be retained. But the caste based and tribal societies also dependent on each other for the diverse needs. But ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता that two segments are living in one region and they are not dependent on each other. There is always a dependency. And this is the law of nature that one element or component of the nature is definitely dependent on the other one. This relationship of conflict and dependence gradually caused both societies to change. But ये dependency की वजह से you cannot be separated. You can't live separately. There will always be a dependence. There will always be a relationship between two elements of the same society, right? So that is why they both, the Varna-based society as well as the tribal society, gradually had some changes in their social classes and culture. Here is a painting, Santal painting scroll or Santhal painted scroll. Santhal is basically a tribe, and this is a painting by those people showing the tribal dance in their community. Now, the point is, who were tribal people? Contemporary historians and travelers give very scanty information about tribes. A very exceptions apart, tribal people did not keep written records. वो बस wanderers हैं. इधर उधर जाके they collect the food, they have their purpose of market solved, and that's it. They do not want to keep any literary records. Later in the ages, they started working on their literary work. They started working on their devotional path and everything. But on the first stance, they did not had any written records, and that is why we have very scattered and scanty information about these tribal people as well as their tribal organized culture. But they preserved rich customs and oral traditions. They had very rich customs and oral traditions. They were very binding towards their rituals and rules. These were passed down to each new generation. Present day historians have started using such oral traditions to write the tribal histories. Tribal people were found in almost every region of the subcontinent. अभी मैं आपको एक map दिखाऊंगी and you will see that tribal people with their name, title and everything, they were spread across the entire Indian subcontinent. The area and influence of a tribe varied at different point of time. Some powerful tribes controlled large territories as well. For example, in Punjab, Khokhar tribe was very influential during the 13th and 14th century. I told you, सब अपनी अपनी tribe अपने अपने time पे powerful थी. They had their influence at different point of time. For example, Khokhar tribe had their influence during the 13th and 14th century. Then later, Gakkads became very important. Their chief, Kamal Khan Gakkad, was made a noble, a mansabdar by the Emperor Akbar. ठीक है? Then talking about Multan and Sindh, the Langas and the Arguns, another name of a tribe, Langas and Arguns dominated extensive region before they were subdued by the Mughals. Multan और Sindh region में कौन है? Langas and Arguns. पंजाब में कौन है? खोक्कड़, गक्कड़. Okay. So they were very famous tribe. I will show you the map also. See, this is the map. All the region of this entire subcontinent. Okay. Here you can say Arguns, Langas, Gakkad, Khokhad. So many other tribes also we will read in this slide only. Okay. Reading further, the Balochis. The Balochis were another large and powerful tribe in the northwest. तो आप ये मत सोचो कि northwest में कोई है नहीं. Balochis are here. They were divided into smaller clans under different chiefs. In the western Himalaya lived the shepherd tribe of Gaddis. एक और tribe Gaddis. The distant northeastern part of the subcontinent too was entirely dominated by the tribes, the Nagas, the Ahoms, and many others. Okay, you can see here as well the Nagas, the Ahoms. So there were tribe and tribal people with organized system and communal ideas. Communal tendencies to live in community all over the subcontinent. कोई एक जगह पे restricted नहीं है. Okay. In many areas of present-day Bihar and Jharkhand, Shero chiefdoms had emerged by the 12th century. ठीक है, यहाँ पे शेरोज रहते थे, कई लोग इनको चीरोज भी कहते हैं. ठीक है. Raja Man Singh, Akbar's famous general, attacked and defeated the Sheros in 1591. A large amount of booty was taken from them, but they were not entirely subdued. They were so strong in their defense that they were not entirely subdued. Though they lost it, but they were not entirely subdued. Under Aurangzeb, Mughal forces captured many Shero fortresses and subjugated the tribe. The Mundas and the Santals were among the other important tribes that lived in this region and also in Odisha and Bengal. ठीक है, एक और ट्राइब मिल गई आपको, मुंडास एंड संताल्स. ये कहाँ पे रहते थे? In this Bihar Jharkhand region as well as in the Odisha and Bengal region as well. Okay, Santals, Mundas. Okay. Reading further, the Maharashtra highlands and Karnataka, they were home to the Kodis, Birads, and numerous other tribes and nomads as well. Kodis also lived in many areas of Gujarat as well. Further south, there were large tribal populations of Koragas, Vetars, Marwars, and many others. The large tribe of Bhils was spread across western as well as central India. Okay, western as well as central India. कहाँ रहते थे Bhils? Central India और western portion में. By the late 16th century, many of them had become settled agriculturalists and some even zamindar. कुछ agriculture में चले गए, कुछ zamindar बन गए. Many Bhil clans, nevertheless, remained hunter-gatherers also. So few adopted agriculture, few became zamindar, but few became and remained hunter-gatherers only. Okay, the Gonds were found in great numbers across the present-day states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh. And children, you really need to understand कि कौन सी tribe कौन से region में ज़्यादा concentrated थी. Okay, you need to know this. Maharashtra highlands and Karnataka में Kodis, Birads थे. Kodis also lived in Gujarat. Then coming south from Gujarat, Gujarat से अगर थोड़ा south की तरफ आओगे, then there were tribal population of Koragas, Vetar and Marwads also. Bhils कहाँ रहते थे? Bhils रहते थे central India और western India में. Okay, कहाँ रहते थे? Central India और western India में. And if you talk about the Gonds, they were found in the areas of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने एक word use करा clan, the Bhil clan. Clan क्या होता है? Clan is a group of families or households claiming descent from a common ancestor. एक common ancestor है और उसी से बाकी पूरी family बनी है. Okay? Tribal organization is often based on kinship or clan loyalty. Tribal organization have always organized themselves and remained in one communal idea on the basis of the kinship, on the basis of this clan, this common descent, this common ancestor only. Okay? Now the topic comes of how nomads and mobile people lived. ये लोग रहते कैसे थे? जो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह wander करते रहते थे. How do these people used to live? And this is very important topic to know, because if they are nomads and they do not have any permanent settlement, then how did they live? Nomadic pastoralists moved over long distances with their animals. They lived on milk and other pastoral products. They also exchanged wool, ghee, etc. with the settled agriculturalist for grain, cloth, utensils and other products. So basically nomads क्या करते थे? Settled agriculturalist को कुछ देते थे and then these agriculturalists used to give some item to the pastoralist. ठीक है? एक exchange का system बना लिया था दोनों लोगों ने. They bought and sold these goods as they moved from one place to another, transporting them on their animals. उनके पास केवल animals ही हैं जिस पे वो अपना सामान transport कर सकते हैं. They did not have any motor cars to run, right? The Banjaras were the most important trader nomads. Their caravan was called Tanda. ये जो ग्रुप में लोग चलते थे, the Banjaras, they were known as Tanda. Sultan Alauddin Khilji, one of the rulers of the Khilji dynasty under Delhi Sultanate, used the Banjaras to transport grain to the city markets. Banjaras का ही use किया जाता था. These people were used, these tribal people were used to supply the grains to one part of the city to the other market. Emperor Jahangir, one of the emperors of Mughal Empire, wrote in his memoirs that the Banjaras carried grain on their bullocks from different areas and sold it in towns. They transported food grain for the Mughal army during military campaigns. So dekh rahe aap, these Banjara people, these Banjara tribes have worked for the Delhi Sultanate as well as for the Mughal Empire as well. With a large army, there could be, you can say, 100,000 bullocks carrying grain. Okay, so this was the impact of the Banjara people. This was the mighty population of the Banjara tribe at that point of time. Here in this image, it's shown beals are hunting deer by night. So it's the night time and here are deer and Beel, the community, is trying to hunt the deer. And in this image, it is shown a chain of mobile traders connected India to the outside world. Here you see nuts being gathered and loaded on the backs of camels. ये देखो nuts हैं, ये यहाँ पे gather करके camel के back पे रखे जा रहे हैं. देखो यहाँ पे gathering चल रही है, यहाँ पे camel के back पे ये डाला जा रहा है. Central Asian traders brought such goods to India and the Banjaras and other traders carried these to local market. तो क्या होता था, जो Central Asia के traders थे, they used to bring all these goods to India और फिर India में इन्हें कौन sell करता था? The Banjaras. Okay. Coming to one question and a small piece of information also. First, the question is, find out how grain is transported from village to village at present. Village to cities at present. In what ways is this different from the ways in which Banjaras function? पहली बात तो आपको ये बताना है that how grains are transported from villages to cities at present time. Okay. Second part is asking that how this present system is different from the systems adopted by Banjaras. Alright. So the answer is, at present grain is transported from villages to cities in lorries, trucks, trains, etc. The present day method of grain transportation is much faster than the method of Banjaras who used bullock carts for grain transportation. Banjaras used to travel and wander from one place to another to sell the produce at good prices. They used to purchase the products from such a place जहाँ पर सामान inexpensive मिलता है, and then they used to sell the product at such a place where it can get good price, so that the Banjaras can earn profit, right? But they had bullock cart as a mean, right? Because they did not had any motor cars at that point of time. They only had bullock carts to travel from one place to another, and that was the major, you can say, advantage to them at that point of time कि उनके पास bullock carts थी. Otherwise, people used to wander on foot as well. Okay, so this is the answer to this question. Now coming on to this piece of information. एक होता है nomads और एक होता है itinerant groups. दोनों में फर्क क्या है? See, nomads are wandering people. Many of them are pastoralists. Many of these nomads are pastoralists who roam from one pasture to another with their flocks and herds. Similarly, itinerant groups such as craft persons, peddlers मतलब जो ठेला लेके इधर उधर चलते हैं, चल के कहीं जाते हैं basically to sell their produce. Peddlers and entertainers travel from place to place practicing their different occupation. Both nomads and itinerant groups often visit the same places every year. ठीक है? Nomads हो गए wandering people and itinerant groups are those people who have their skill, their product or their service and they go from one place to another so that they can provide it, sell it and earn money from it. Now pastoral tribes. Many pastoral tribes reared and sold animals also, such as cattle and horses, to be prosperous people. Different castes of petty peddlers also travel from village to village. Petty peddlers, that means having the sale while you roam without any pressure. Okay, very easy sale and purchases of things. So, different castes of petty peddlers also travel from village to village. They made and sold wares such as ropes, reeds, straw, matting, and the coarse sacks also. Sometimes mendicants acted as wandering merchants. Mendicant means a beggar. Okay, sometimes beggars also acted as wandering merchant. वो कुछ ऐसे चार पांच आइटम खरीद लेते थे and then they used to wander from one place to another selling those little items. There were castes of entertainers also who performed in different towns and villages for their livelihood. Okay, this is the bronze crocodile, Kutia Kon tribe, Odisha. This is the bronze crocodile. So basically, the tribal people used to make all these craft items as well to sell it in the market. Okay, so here you can see with the help of these that to sell things, they not only restricted themselves to some goods, they also tried their selling had at animals. They were petty peddlers also. Few people had their hand at handmade things. रोप बनाते थे, रीड्स बनाते थे, मैट्स बनाते थे, सैक बनाते थे, ये सब बना बना के भी बेचते थे. Then there were some beggars, mendicants also, who acted as wandering merchants, and there were caste of entertainers, a separate caste of entertainers जो गली गली, town town, village village जाके entertain करते थे, maybe by dancing, by singing, or doing some stunts or anything like that, and then they used to earn their livelihood. And this is here I've shown you a craft item made by the Kutia Kond tribe belonging to the state of Odisha. Now coming on to a very important topic, that means changing society. The new caste and the hierarchies developed. Okay, settled community का formation हो रहा था यहाँ पे. As the economy and the needs of society grew, people with new skills were required. Smaller caste or जातिज emerged within varna. अब देखो वर्ण के अंदर ही जातियां आने लग जाएंगी. The Brahmins, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, the Shudra. Now they will have jatis under them. कि ये वाले जाति के हो तो ब्राह्मण कहलाओगे, ये वाले जाति के हो तो क्षत्रिय कहलाओगे, ये वाले जाति के हो तो वैश्य कहलाओगे, and if you belong to this jati then you are shudra. So now jatis are under varna. ठीक है? More complexity in the system of varna culture. For example, new castes appeared among the Brahmins. On the other hand, many tribes and social groups were taken into caste-based society and given the status of jatis. अब tribal लोगों को भी social group में include करा जा रहा था. So basically, these tribal people were getting influenced by the main traditional caste-based society. And the greater influence on these people were led by the Brahmins only. Specialized artisans, smith, carpenter, masons, they were also recognized as separate jati by the Brahmins. Jatis rather than varna became the basis of organizing the society. अब लोग ये नहीं कहते थे कि तुम ब्राह्मण हो कि क्षत्रिय हो, अब लोग उनको उनकी जाति के नाम से बुलाते थे. Okay, so basically now, unlike the later Vedic period में वर्ण important था, but now in this period, jatis became more relevant and became more important for organizing the society. Talking about the Kshatriya, among the Kshatriya, new Rajput clans became powerful by the 11th and 12th centuries. They belong to different lineages. कुछ ऐसे राजपूत थे जो हुना के descent को belong करते थे, कुछ belong to the Chandelas, कुछ belong to the ancestry of Chalukyas and others. So basically, there were different Rajput clans under the Varna of Kshatriya. Some of these too had been tribes earlier. कुछ तो ऐसे थे जो अपने आप में पहले tribes थे और अब they were given the status of Rajput clan. Many of these clans came to be regarded as Rajputs. They gradually replaced the older rulers, especially agricultural areas में तो it was very prominent कि एक राजा आता था and they used to replace the other one and then used to rule the area. Various people belonging to the tribe now had the status of being a Rajput. Can you see the influence on the people of tribal mind? That now they wanted to become a part of this Varna system. Here, a developed society was emerging, and rulers used their wealth to create powerful states. Okay? And yahi pe we can see the rise of Rajput clans to the position of rulers, set an example for the tribal people to follow. Okay. Gradually, with the support of the Brahmins, many tribes became part of the caste system. Because Brahmins basically led their influence of the tribal people as well to join the Varna-based society. So later, gradually, with the effect and influence of Brahmins and support of Brahmins, many tribes joined the caste system of the main society. But only the leading tribal families could join the ruling class. A large majority joined the lower jati of caste society. On the other hand, many dominant tribes of Punjab, Sindh and northwest frontier, they adopted Islam quite early और उन्होंने बोला that we reject the caste system. They continue to reject the caste system. उन्होंने बोला we don't believe in the caste system. We have adopted Islam quietly and we are following it. The unequal social order prescribed by Orthodox Hinduism was not widely accepted in these areas. Except नहीं किया गया इतने अच्छे से हर जगह, okay? Especially in the areas of Punjab, Sindh and the northwestern frontier. The emergence of states is closely related to the social change among tribal people. ये जो states का emergence हो रहा है ना, this led to the greater influence and changes in the tribal people and their organization. इसकी वजह से they heavily got influenced and changed their perspective and their manner to administer and organize themselves, because they now became a part of this main lead society where unequal classes, discrimination in every rules and regulations on the basis of the words said by Brahmins, ये सब चल रहा था. Okay. Now we will read about the deliberations of Jati. A 12th century inscription, एक inscription है 12th century की from Uyyakondan Udayar. Udayar की एक है तिरुचिरापल्ली तालुक में, present day Tamil Nadu, describes the deliberations in a sabha of Brahmins. Deliberations बताते थे Brahmin जब किसी सभा, किसी conference में. So it has been mentioned in one of the inscriptions in Tamil Nadu belonging to the period of 12th century. They deliberated on the status of a group known as Rath Karaz, जिन्हें हम chariot makers कहते हैं, रथ बनाने वाले Rath Karaz. They laid down their occupations, which were to include architecture, building coaches and chariots, erecting gateway for temples with images in them, preparing wooden equipment used to perform sacrifices, building mandapas, making jewels for the king. So basically here Brahmins are telling that what these Ratkaras will do. Okay, these are the deliberations being imposed by Brahmins on this particular caste, or you can say particular group of people having a particular form of occupation. Children, now we'll have a closer look to some tribes. Talking about first the Gonds. Okay, the Gonds lived in a vast forested region called Gondwana or country inhabited by Gonds. Gond में रहने वाले लोगों को उस area को Gondwana कहने लगे. I will show you the map also of the Gondwana. This is the map. This is the Gondwana region. Okay, and here you can see the Narmada river also flowing. Okay, so this was the central, a little towards the Deccan region also. This is the central India or western part of the India, the Gondwana region. They practiced shifting cultivation. These Gonds residing in the Gondwana region practiced shifting cultivation. The large Gond tribe was further divided into small clans. तो अभी क्या हो रहा है? We are reading the decentralization, or you can say the administration of the Gond tribe. That means they had their own clan, and they had their own tribe, and then that tribe is divided into clans. छोटे छोटे ग्रुप बना दिए थे उन्होंने, ठीक है? Each clan has its own राजा और राय, हम जिनको राय साहब कहते हैं, ठीक है? About the time that the power of the Delhi sultans was declining, a few large Gond kingdoms were beginning to dominate the smaller Gond chief. The Akbarnama, the biography of Akbar written by Abul Fazl, a history of Akbar's reign, mentions the Gond kingdom of Gadkatanga. एक area of Gond tribe था जिसे हम कहते थे गढ़कटंग. This is some area under the Gond people. It had 70,000 villages. Can you imagine an area being controlled by a tribal group having 70,000 villages in it? So they were definitely very powerful, very controlling, and had good administrative values and rules. ऐसे कुछ हवा में नहीं चल रहा है. Okay, they had good administrative control over their territory. The administrative system of these kingdoms was becoming centralized and the kingdom was getting divided into गढ़. ठीक है, clan है, clan के नीचे आता है गढ़, and then गढ़ was also further divided into various other means. So basically they had their flourished system of administration, flourished system of society कि कैसे हम लोग अपने आप को govern या rule करेंगे. Here is an image shown of a Gond woman so that you can see the accessories the woman used to wear, the way they used to accessorize themselves, the clothes they used to wear. Okay. We read that they practice shifting cultivation. पर ये shifting cultivation होता क्या है? Trees and bushes in a forest area are first cut and then burnt. The crop is sown in the ashes. उस ash में crop को sow किया जाता है. When this land loses its fertility, another plot of land is cleared and planted in the same way. इसी को हम shifting cultivation कहते हैं कि यहाँ पे आज plant करा, then when this land will lose its fertility, we will go to another piece of land to grow another crop. Okay, so we are basically shifting from one piece of land to another only when the land is losing its fertility. Okay, these gad, each gad was controlled by a particular Gond clan. Okay, हर गढ़ में एक Gond clan का एक supervisor, leader, head होता था. This was further divided into units of 84 villages जिसे हम 84 कहते थे. ठीक है, further divided. So the community has gad, each gad had a clan and each gad had villages जिन्हें हम 84 कहते थे because 84 villages हैं, right? 84, 84 को हिंदी में 84 कहा जाता है, that is why they are known as 84. The 84 was subdivided into barots which were made up of 12 villages each or division. So basically there was a perfect decentralized idea in the Gond community. The emergence of large states changed the nature of Gond society. Their basically equal society gradually got divided into unequal social classes because now they were getting influenced and mixed with the Varna-based society of the state as well. Brahmins received land grants from the Gond Raja and became more influential. अब Gond Raja लोग भी land grant देने लग गए Brahmins को, right? So there was a greater influence of Brahmins also on the Gond tribal people. The Gond chief now wished to be recognized as Rajputs क्योंकि अब उन्हें राजा बनना था. And to become a king you have to be Rajput to show that you are very valorous and you have all those qualities as a Rajput has. So Amandas, the Gond Raja of Gadkatanga is this place, their territory of Gonds. Amandas was that Gond Raja of Gadkatanga. He assumed the title of Sangram Shah. Sangram is a very famous title for the Rajput kings. So he assumed this title of Sangram Shah. His son Dalpat married Princess Durgavati, who was the daughter of Salbahan, the Chandel Rajput Raja of Mahoba. जानबूझ के दलपत ने उससे शादी करी, the princess who belonged to the Rajput family. Okay, so this was their desperation to be known as Rajputs so that they can also rule, and this was the influence of the Varna-based society on the tribal community of Gonds. Reading further, Dalpat, however, died early. Rani Durgavati was very capable and started ruling on behalf of her 5-year-old son, Birnaran. Under her, the kingdom became even more extensive. In 1565, when Akbar was there in the Mughal Empire, in 1565, Mughal forces under Asaf Khan, the general, attacked the Gadkatanga. A strong resistance was put up by Rani Durgavati. She was defeated and preferred to die rather than surrender. She said, no, we will fight. We will not give up like this. Her son too died fighting soon after. Gadkatanga was a rich state. It earned much wealth by trapping and exporting wild elephants to other kingdoms. When the Mughals defeated the Gonds, they captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants as well. And these wild elephants were very important on the purpose of wars. That is why Mughals wanted to capture Gond and their territory, because they had very rich resources of forest and animals. They as in Mughals, annexed part of the kingdom and granted the rest to Chandra Shah, uncle of Birnarayan. Birnarayan कौन है? ये दुर्गावती का बेटा. Okay, and Mughals granted the rest of the territory to Chandra Shah, who was the uncle of Birnarayan. Despite the fall of Gadkatanga, Gond kingdoms survived for some time. However, they became much weaker and later struggled unsuccessfully against the stronger Bundelas and Marathas. Okay, Mughals ke baad Bundelas and Marathas also came up to capture the territory of Gonds or to lay over Gonds. So, after getting defeated by Mughals, Gonds somehow survived only for some time. But later, it was very struggling for them to survive more because now Bundelas and Marathas also came to fight against them. So finally, after Bundelas and Marathas, Gonds finally disappeared. Okay. Here is an image of a carved door, Gond tribe, Bastar area, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, this is a carved door made by Gond tribe people residing in the area of Bastar, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Present day, modern day, Bastar is in Chhattisgarh, not in Madhya Pradesh, but this is an historical evidence showing the carved door. Okay. Now we have to discuss why the Mughals were interested in the lands of Gonds. क्यों conquer करना चाहते थे उनको? The territory of Gonds was in the central part of the subcontinent, the Gondwana land region. Mughals ruled over the northern part, and they wished to expand their control over the southern kingdoms of the subcontinent as well. In order to do that, they first had to take control in the central part of the subcontinent. अगर आप नॉर्थ में हैं और आपको साउथ जाना है तो पहले आपको सेंट्रल पे भी तो कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा so that these people do not disturb your conquering policy. So, in order to take control over the southern kingdoms, first Mughals had to take control over the central part of the subcontinent, which was heavily and very powerfully ruled and controlled by Gonds. Therefore, Mughals were interested in the land of Gonds. Alright, children, now talking about the most important tribal group, the Ahoms. The Ahoms migrated to Brahmaputra Valley from present day Myanmar in the 13th century. Myanmar आज एक country है, right? Myanmar, this region. They migrated from this region to the Brahmaputra Valley. Okay? They created a new state by suppressing the older political system of the Bhuyans. वहाँ पे लैंडलॉर्ड्स रहते थे जिन्हें भुयंस कहा जाता था. And when Ahoms migrated to this valley region, they suppressed the Bhuyans. They suppressed the older political system and established their new state. During the 16th century, they annexed the kingdoms of Chutias 1523 and of Koch Hajo in 1581 and subjugated many other tribes. इसी दौरान, nearly in this time period, Mughals also established themselves, right, in the 16th century. When in 1526, Ibrahim Lodi and Babur had a battle at Panipat, and then Babur won, and Mughal dynasty was established. During, very nearly to that period, Ahoms also annexed the kingdoms from these two tribal community and subjugated many other tribes under them. The Ahoms built a large state, and for this they used firearms as early as 1530s. 1530 में ही firearms शुरू हो गए थे. The Mughals also didn't start using the firearms, and Ahoms did it. That means they were the first tribe in the subcontinent to use the firearms. By the 1660s, they could even make high quality gunpowder and cannons as well. They were so mighty and powerful with their military regard. However, the Ahoms faced many invasions from the southwest, from this region, this region, okay? In 1662, the Mughals under Mir Jumla attacked the Ahom kingdom. Mughals का एक governor, एक supervisor था Mir Jumla, who attacked the Ahom kingdom in the year 1662. Okay? Despite their brave defense, Ahoms were defeated. They fought with utmost bravery. They had the most beautiful defense system against the Mughals, but finally the Ahoms were defeated because they were fighting against the mighty empire of Mughals, right? But direct Mughal control over the region could not last long क्योंकि वो इतने difficult terrain में रहते हैं over the hills and valleys between the mountain ranges that it's very difficult to have a control over such a region. So the direct control of Mughal over the Ahom land could not last longer. Here is the map given the tribes of eastern India. All the tribes and all the region belonging to them has been provided over here. The Ahom state depended upon forced labor, and those forced to work, those people who were forced to work for the state were called pikes. ठीक है? In forced labor को pikes कहा जाता था, pikes. A census of the population was taken. Census लिया जाता था कि एक गांव में कितने लोग रहते हैं. Each village had to send a number of pikes by rotation. For example, there are 3 villages and village number 1 has sent 10 people, village number 2 also has sent 10 people, this has also sent 10 people. Now when these 10 will return back, then another set of 10 will come. Okay, so pikes were sent by rotation from each village. People from heavily populated areas were shifted to the less populated areas to maintain and manage the population ratio of all these villages. Okay, Ahom clans were thus broken up. By the first half of the 17th century, administration became quite centralized because now there were equal distribution of people among the villages also, and that is why उसकी वजह से clan टूट रहे थे, right? The community were breaking down because of the reshifting of the population, and because of this, a major centralization took place in the administration of Ahoms. Here are the ear ornaments Koboi Naga tribe used to wear. These are the earrings found in Manipur. Okay, this tribe, this Naga tribe, Koboi Naga tribe, used to reside in the areas of Manipur, and these were the ear ornaments found. Acha, at other times, what they did, they were engaged in building dams, irrigation systems, and other public works. They were not free at any point of time because they need employment, they need money, right? So, at other point of time, they were engaged in building these dams, doing the irrigation system works, and maybe some other public works as well. The Ahoms also introduced new methods of rice cultivation. Ahom society was divided into clans जिन्हें हम खेल या खेल भी कहते थे. ठीक है, I will pronounce it as खेल. There were very few castes of artisans. So artisans in Ahom areas came from the adjoining kingdoms also. ठीक है, Ahom का जो area था अपने आप में, that Assam area, which is now divided into various modern states in India as well, but the Ahom area belonging to the historical period, Ahom area, okay, this area had very few caste of artisans. Artisans की बहुत कम caste वाले लोग थे. That is why various artisans came to this Ahom area from the adjoining kingdoms also. A khel often controlled several villages. कोई एक खेल, कोई एक community of artisans, they used to control several villages. अभी हमने बताया ना, Ahom society is divided into khel. For example, this is the Ahom society overall. Ahom society. This is the Ahom society overall, and there are various clans. Clan number 1, clan number 2, clan number 3, 4, 5, and they had their separate names. They had their separate khel titles. Okay, a khel often controlled several villages. The peasant was given land by his village community. Peasant खुद कुछ own नहीं करता था. For the equal distribution of resources, for the equal distribution of resources and wealth, so that one person does not have 10 pieces of land and one have only one. Just to avoid this system, the peasant was given land by his own village community. Okay, even the king could not take it away without the community's consent. So it was the village community which had the massive power of equal distribution of wealth and resources. That is why Ahom society or Ahom khel system was very prominent. Acha, originally the Ahoms worshipped their own tribal gods. During the first half of the 17th century, however, the influence of Brahmins increased. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे amalgamation हो रहा है society का. There is a practice of acculturation, right? Because two societies are now getting adapted to each other. Now they are mixing their ideas and culture, and hence the influence of Brahmins also increased in the worshipping culture of Ahoms as well. Temples and Brahmins were granted land by the king. हम लोग कई बार पढ़ चुके हैं that king used to grant land to the temples as well as to the Brahmins. In the reign of Sib Singh, who was a ruler between 1714 to 1744, Hinduism became the predominant religion in the major region. But the Ahom kings did not completely give up their traditional beliefs after adopting Hinduism. अच्छा, देखो यहाँ क्या हो रहा है? There is an influence of Brahmins on the Ahoms. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है that Ahoms will leave all their culture, tradition and value, rituals and beliefs. No, They did not give up completely their traditional beliefs, they just adopted Hinduism. For example, if you are doing something and you just adopted something else also, so now it's a circle and a square as well. It's not that you have given up on your circle. No, you have not given up on your circle. You have your circle as well as the new square with you. Just like that. A home society was very sophisticated. Poets and scholars were given land grants. Theatre was encouraged. Entertainment. Important works of Sanskrit were translated into local language so that people can also understand all the literary works. Historical works known as Buranjis were also written first in the Ahom language and then in Assamese. ठीक है? Buranjis जिनको हम historical work कहते हैं उन्हें पहले Ahom language में लिखा गया and then they were written in Assamese. Now here's a question for you. Why do you think the Mughals tried to conquer the land of the Ahoms? Answer is very simple. Ahoms ruled the northeastern region of the subcontinent. Mughals, in order to expand their domain in the entire subcontinent, they tried to conquer the land of Ahoms also. Also, the land of Ahoms was a rich source of forest produce, and animals such as elephants were war animals. They also led to the Mughal attack on the land of Ahoms, right? That is why this is the reason why Mughals wanted to conquer the land of Ahoms. First, the northeastern region could be conquered by it. Second, they had good resources. Now let's come to the conclusion of the chapter, which says that considerable social change took place in the subcontinent during the period we have been examining, right? Varna-based society and then tribal people constantly interacted with each other. Acha, this interaction caused both kinds of societies to adapt and change. Even the Varna-based society also adapted and changed a little. These tribal people also adapted a lot and changed their natural tendency to live in a society as well. There were many different tribes and they took up diverse livelihoods. Over a period of time, many of them merged with the caste-based society as well. Others, however, rejected both the caste system as well as the Orthodox Hinduism as well. Some tribes established extensive states with well organized systems of administration, just like the Gond, the Ahoms, right? They thus became politically powerful. This brought them into conflict with larger and more complex kingdoms and empire. कोई भी tribal group अगर अपने आप को इतना large कर ले that they start controlling a part of a state, then definitely the larger empire, which is having a greater control over the state, they will be in conflict with these tribal group. Correct? And this is what happened for the major part of this historical period, that whosoever tribal group had a vast, well-organized system of administration, who had extensive control over the states and part of state became politically powerful, they got into conflict. Most famous are the Gond kingdom, the Ahom kingdom. Mughals tried to conquer on the parts of both Ahoms as well as Gonds at different point of time in history. Okay, so this was the conclusion of this chapter, that how the society, how the tribal people, how the Varna-based society, everyone changed and adapted to the nature of the time. Okay, now let's read the story of Elsewhere as we do in every chapter. Okay, so in this chapter we read about various tribes, the nomads, and various settled communities around the country as well. Okay, especially those tribes which emerged as a powerful kingdom as well, and they were well organized tribes which then later on got included in the formation of state as well. Okay, so here we are going to read about one such tribe which organized themselves in such a better form that they started annexing and conquering over large parts of the world. Okay, we are going to read about the Mongols. Yes, the Mongols, which were the descendants of Mughals also, which Mughals did not want to keep a relation with or their name with, but from their mother's side they belong to the Mongols, the Genghis Khan family. Okay, so we're going to read about Mongols. First, you have to find out Mongolia in your atlas. Then the best known pastoral and hunter-gatherer tribe in history were the Mongols. सबसे best pastoral hunter-gatherer tribe अगर कोई history में थी तो वो Mongols थे. They were so well organized with their administration, rules and regulation, army and everything that the world knew about them. They inhabited the grasslands known as the steppe grasslands of Central Asia and the forested areas further north. By 1206,
Genghis Khan had united the Mongol and the Turkish tribes into a powerful military force. At the time of his death, 1227, he was the ruler of extensive territories. His successors created a vast empire, though for this they had to bleed a lot of blood as well in different parts of the battle around the world. At different point of time, it included the parts of Russia, Eastern Europe, and also China and much of West Asia. This was the vast expansion of the Mongolian tribe as a large dynasty. The Mongols had well organized military as well as administrative system also. These were based on the support of different ethnic as well as religious groups. All the groups emerged and maintained themselves into an organized structure. Organization में कोई कमी नहीं आने दी. That is why they were able to emerge as such a vast dynasty and such a powerful empire, because their groups, their people, their tribal community was so well organized and cooperative, and they were supportive also towards the agenda of the tribe. Okay. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, let's read some associated keywords from the chapter. First is Varna, Jati, Tanda, Gad, Chaurasi, Bharot, Bhuyans, the pike, the laborers, Hel, the clan, their home state, Buranji, and census. You must know all these words, the meaning of these words, and their related connection and meaning with the chapter. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, let's recall the chapter with the help of some exercises. So question number 1 over here is match the following. So here are some words and here are clues associated or related to it, and sometimes the meaning of the word is also given. So you have to connect and match the correct word with the correct clue. Okay, words are Gad, Tanda, laborer, clan, Sibsing, and Durgavati. Durgavati. Okay, so and the clues given are Khel, Chaurasi, Caravan, Gadakatanga, a home state, and pike. Think about the answer. Here is the answer: Gad, Chaurasi, Tanda, the caravan, laborer, that were pikes in their home state, clan means Khel or Khel, Sibsing related to a home state, and Durgavati was Gadakatanga, wife of this ruler, and she herself was the Rajput princess. Okay, question number 2, fill in the blank. So here are statements and you have to fill the blank with appropriate word. If you will not be able to memorize the word, please go back to the chapter, revise well, and then come back to the exercise. I have not given any clue because all the statements are directly from the chapter. Okay, so starting with the first one, the new castes emerging within Varnas were called dash. Varn के ही अंदर जो new castes आ रही थी, those new castes were called jatis. Second, dash were historical works written by Ahoms. The historical work written by Ahoms in the Ahom language and then in the Assamese language were known as Buranjis. Third, the dash mentions that Gadakatanga had 70,000 villages. कौन सी बुक में मिला था हम लोग को? अकबरनामा में, correct. Fourth one, as tribal states became bigger and stronger, they gave land grants to dash. किसको grants देने लगे थे? Tribal people, to the temples and to the Brahmins. Coming on to question number 3, state whether true or false. That means there are statements and you have to tell whether the statement is true or false. So the first one is, tribal societies had rich oral traditions. They had their own rich oral traditions? True, they had it. B, there were no tribal communities in the northwestern part of the subcontinent. Were there any tribes? False, there were. The Chaurasi in Gond states contained several cities. जो 84 Gond states में थे, did it contain several cities? False, it did not have. D, the Bhils lived in the northeastern part of the subcontinent. Bhils eastern part में रहते थे. False. Question number 4, what kind of exchanges took place between nomadic pastoralist and settled agriculturalist? Nomadic pastoralist gave wool, ghee, etc. And the settled agriculturalist gave the nomadic pastoralist grain, cloth, utensils, and other products. Okay. Question number 5. How was the administration of a home state organized? A home state के administration organize कैसे होता था? We have to tell this. Administration of ahoms. The ahom state depended upon forced labor. Now, question number 5. How was the administration of ahom state organized? Ahom state का administration organized कैसे होता था? We have to tell this. So, the administration of ahom state depended upon forced labor. The forced workers were called pikes. A census of the population was taken and each village had to send a number of pikes by rotation. ठीक है? For example, if there are 100 people, 10 अभी जाएंगे. When these 10 will return, the next slot of 10 will go. Okay? This is how they used to work. People from heavily populated areas were shifted to less populated places. Our home clans were thus broken up. By the first half of the 17th century, the administration became quite centralized. Now reading question number 6. What changes took place in the Varna-based society? जैसे ये वर्ण आ गया ना, इस सोसाइटी में क्या चेंजेस आए? So the following changes took place in the Varna-based society. Smaller caste or जातिज emerged within वर्ण. वर्ण एक बड़ा segment होता है and then under it comes जातिज. Okay? Smaller caste or jatis emerged within Varna. On the other hand, many tribes and social groups were taken into caste-based society and given status of jati. बहुत सारी ऐसी tribes थी जिन्हें कोई ना कोई जाति allot कर दी गई. And on the basis of that jati, they were included in one of the varna. 4 वर्ण होते हैं, right? Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So, under these 4 varna come various jatis. So various tribes were allotted status of some jati and on the basis of that their varna were decided. Specialized artisans such as smith, carpenter, masons were also recognized as separate jatis by the Brahmins. Acha, the important question is that who is allotting these jatis? Who are the people who are allotting these jatis and deciding the varna of various people? It's the Brahmin. They are the ones who decided that कौन किस जाति को belong करेगा. They are the ones who decided that which jati will come under which varna. Okay? Each varna have separate jatis, right? And these Brahmins were the ones who decided that which jati will come under which varna or which group of people will belong to which jati. Jatis rather than varna became the basis of organizing society. हम लोग वर्ण के हिसाब से लोगों को अब बोलना ही भूल गए. Now we decided their social status on the basis of their jati. Among the Kshatriyas, one of the Varna, new Rajput clan became powerful. Many tribes became part of the caste system also. But only the leading tribal families could join the ruling class. A large majority joined the lower jatis of caste society. बहुत सारी ट्राइबल लोगों ने तो जनरली लोअर जाति ज्वाइन करी. ज्वाइन क्या करी? दे वर आस्क्ड बेसिकली दैट यू बिलोंग टू दिस लोअर जाति ओनली. Many dominant tribes of Punjab, Sindh and northwest frontier, they adopted Islam and hence they continued to reject the caste system. उन्होंने बोला हम तो इस्लाम को अडॉप्ट कर चुके हैं. We don't believe in your Varna system of Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra system. We don't belong to that. We have adopted Islam and Islam does not have all these Varna system. Only Hinduism and this Hindu mythology has the Varna system. Okay. Question number 7. How did tribal societies change after being organized into a state? अभी तक तो ऐसे secluded tribal society के form में रह रहे थे, but when they were included in the structure and administration of state, then what were the changes in the society of these tribals? So changes in the society. First, the emergence of large states changed the nature of tribal society. एक तो nature ही बदल गया because now they have to be included and have to be familiaristic or to be known with the other people of the state as well. Second, equal society gradually got divided into unequal social classes. अभी तक तो they were working on their equal strata कि हम अपने हिसाब से we will divide our land, we will spend our resources and everything. But now because they were included in the larger state, now there was division in their society but an unequal level. on an unequal level because there is caste system in the state. There is a creed hierarchy in the state, and that is why equal society, even after being equal, they got divided into unequal social classes. For example, Brahmins received land grants from the Gond Rajas. They became more influential. The Gond chief now wished to be recognized as Rajputs. अभी तक वो अपनी tribal entity and identity में बहुत खुश थे that yes, we are the Gonds, we are very powerful, we are massive. But now, because of the structure of the society, because of the caste division of the society, they also wanted to become Rajputs. और राजपूत बनने के लिए उन्होंने बहुत कुछ किया. Number one example is here. Aman Das, the Gond Raja of Gadha Katanga, he assumed the title of Sangram Shah. उन्होंने अपना टाइटल ही नाम रख दिया संग्राम शाह का, because Sangram is an associated title of the Rajputs. Okay. Then his son Dalpat, he married Princess Durgavati, and Durgavati was a Rajput princess. Okay, so he intentionally married a person who was or belonged to the Rajput family. This person, Durgavati, was the daughter of Salbahan, and Salbahan was the Chandel Rajput Raja of Mahoba. Alright, so these were the changes in the society. Number one, their entire nature and working pattern changed. Second, they got divided. Even after being in the equal society, they got divided on an unequal social class basis. Third, now they also wanted to become or be included in a part of some particular caste, and for that they did various options. They chose various options to do so. So this was the change in their society after being organized into a state. Now question number 8, were the Banjaras important for the economy? तो कोई पूछने की बात ही नहीं है. Banjaras were very important for the economy. They were trader nomads. Nomads थे, इधर उधर भटकते थे, but वो ऐसे भटकते यूं ही नहीं थे. They used to roam here and there for the trade purposes, and they controlled the trade and commerce. They played an important role in transporting grain to the city markets. अच्छा दिमाग कैसे चलाते थे? They usually bought grain where it was cheaply available. जहाँ पे भी inexpensive है वो वहां से परचेज करते थे, and then they used to sell it where it was expensive. जहां एक्सपेंसिव चल रहा है कोई प्रोडक्ट वहां सेल कर दो जाके, जहां सस्ता चल रहा है वहां से परचेज कर लो जाके. And this was the biggest economic method and idea they adopted, which made them and gave them a lot of control over the trade and commerce. Okay, from there they again reloaded their oxen with anything that could be profitably sold in other places. ये लोग इधर उधर जाते इसलिए थे कि कहीं पे भी कुछ भी सस्ता मिल रहा होगा, we will buy it and we will sell it wherever it is getting or being sold at expensive prices. Okay, this was their job. Go to every place, buy anything which is at profitable prices, then sell it at other places where you can gain more profit. Okay, and that is why Banjaras were very important for the economy, because they were nomads but trader nomads and had a greater control on the trade and commerce. They were wanderers in the city market, which had a great control over trade because they were continuously involved in the sale and purchase of various products. Okay, question number 9. In what ways was the history of the Gonds different from that of the Ahoms? Were there any similarities also? The history of the Gonds was different from that of the Ahoms in the following ways. First, the area. Gonds lived in the Gondwana region, while Ahoms lived in the Brahmaputra Valley region. Correct? Gonds practiced shifting cultivation, while Ahoms did not practice shifting cultivation. They had their new techniques to rice cultivation and various other methods of irrigation, but they did not practice shifting cultivation like the Gonds. Gond kingdom was large. Ahom kingdom was small, though powerful, but small. Gond kingdom was divided into Gad. Ahoms built a large state. Gond ने अपने kingdom को गढ़ में divide कर दिया था. Whereas Ahoms built a large state and they only had clans for better administration. Okay. Gonds did not use firearms, whereas Ahoms used firearms for the first time in the history of subcontinent. Then there are similarities also. Number one similarity is that they both were tribes. Okay, they both were tribal people. Mughals tried to control the lands of both at different point of time. There were changes in society of both due to the diversification of occupation. इतने diversified occupation आ गए थे इनकी society में that both of the tribes had a major diversification, a major change in the society was reflected because of the diversification of occupation in both these tribes.
Okay, students, so with this, we have come to the end of chapter number 7. Thank you. Revise well. Happy learning. We'll see you in the next one.